found that, by embracing change, and I mean embracing change as in, yes, I love it. Let's just never, be let's just be carefree and never have anything the same. It's not that for me, but I anticipate it. I not necessarily looking for it, but when it comes, I'm not as willing to fight it, as I used to be, because I know that it's coming. I know that things are gonna happen. That everything doesn't stay the same like I used to want it to, and probably still in in the deep inner of my heart would still like it to. I just recognize that the world isn't that place that I thought it was, and accepting that, the change doesn't feel so bad when it happens. So, like you said, when the cliff comes up and I see it there, it's a little bit easier to step off on my terms than it is to wait for the universe to push me off.
Yeah, I recognize that as the reality of forward motion. Um, that experience of choosing when and how I do anything. I think that's the reality of forward motion. The recognition of that need within the self to be the director.
I think
So
someone mentioned trust earlier. Um, I think it might have been Tucker, mentioned maybe trusting that everything is going to be all right. And so, yeah, and just kind of running along with the change instead of trying to fight against it. I've over time built a trust, that things are going to be all right. I didn't start off that way for sure, because I
yeah,
started off, wondering what's going to happen. It's going to be okay. But, over the years and practicing that takes practice, in my experience. That trust has been built. It's going to be okay. So again, like Holly said, that's not something you can teach someone else. I can't
mhm.
make someone else know that it's going to be okay, when change comes. I just can't. And I mean, sometimes it's not, and I've found that most of the time when it's not, it's because I'm trying to fight it. And when I release it and let it go, then things get all right. Usually.
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 Yeah. I
Yeah, they
think we
might
can
get to
definitely lead through example, though.
what's that?
I think we can definitely lead through example.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is how about, and we definitely want to hear from you guys. I don't know what you guys thought you were coming to, but this is a everybody talk experience. Uh, I was some a question I'm thinking about is what happens when it's somebody else that it seems like they're the one who's changing or they need to change. Like, how does that, you know, how do you experience that?
Keep your own peace. Like I've seen that too. And um
Well, let's see what Sonia thinks, Holly.
oh,
Will you ask the question again to make sure I
Well,
understand?
essentially, it's what happened. Like we've been talking a lot about personal
Yeah.
experiences. So, but what happens when you're in a relationship like Stella was describing, or you just know somebody, or who knows how this is going down? I mean, it could even be political. I guess it really doesn't matter for most people, right? What happens when you have this kind of a reaction to another change, not you, but to something else? Like, how can we stay in peace when experiencing somebody else's apparent need to change or their hardcore shift. Like they've done something different. You've been kicking it with them all this time and now they do something different. You know, now what?
So, for me personally, my biggest weapon, so to speak, is prayer. So of course, I'm going to pray for them. You know, another way for me is in my interactions, whether they're supportive or whether they're constructive and productive. You know, it's kind of like you would redirect a child when you don't want them to touch something. You show them something else, something better, that's more intriguing, and they're going to, you know, just put their focus on is what, yeah. That's how I interact. So I'm in a 12-step program. I sponsor other women and walk them through the 12 steps, and that's my biggest tool is prayer, redirection, reflection. Sometimes when you have a discussion with somebody and you can explain it from your perspective to get a greater idea of what their personal experience is, you know, and just kind of nurture that and cater to that the best.
Yeah.
So
We're talking about change, Jerry. The wisdom that can come if you allow it to. How can we find peace through change? Can you be in peace when the universe is saying you got to do something different, buddy? It's all over now. It's a new ball game. It was good while it lasted, but now you got to do something different.
You know, it's interesting talking about people because I can't remember where I was looking recently, but you know, someone had the saying that, you know, a leopard never changes its spots, and I was like, that's not true. People change all the time. They change more than the world does. And I know that I've changed over the years, and I'm also thinking of kind of the reverse question or kind of thought, if you will. You asked about, you know, what happens when other people change. What happens when I change and people try to keep me the same, right? And try to
yeah.
make me be the person, you know, that I was before the change. You know, whether that's good or bad. You know, either way, you know, someone's trying to make me be someone that I'm no longer, and you know, vice versa. You know, I think there are times when other people in my life have changed and I've tried to make them be the person that I want you to be the person I knew before.
Yeah.
And that's quite an experience. And you know, another thing I think that in my experience, learning to let go of the expectations is has been beneficial for me to be able to accept that.
Yeah. It's also it's interesting. It's an experience that I'm having where somebody is attempting to change, but they're not really doing it with purpose and with clarity and with the power that they can. And so it's just this really interesting experience. I mean, people are going to do what we can do. We're always, so we got the 4 agreements. You guys are familiar with the 4 agreements? I figure
love them.
everybody maybe. It's a book by a guy named what's his name, TJ?
Don Miguel Ruiz.
Don Miguel Ruiz.
I think he's gonna get a copy.
Yeah.
It's this little book like right here. It's pretty small. It's a really good, powerful book. It's got its core, though, are these 4 agreements. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personal. Don't make assumptions, and always do your best.
Always do your best. Always.
So those are the 4 agreements. So it's like always do your best is the one that always kind of gets me, because
I know, me too. Me too.
it's tough because I see people's potential, and that gets me in trouble. Like, I think my karma is caring too much about other people, or it can turn into like this negative karma thing, you know? But when I can turn my attention back on myself and recognize, what am I learning? What's my opportunity in this situation? That truly makes a gigantic difference. I can step away and I can see that everybody is doing their best.
I think we all really are doing the best that we can with what we have at the time.
Yeah.
So some of us have a lot of different things. Like, there's so many different things that we can have. Some of us have a lot of trauma. Some of us have a lot of anger. Some of us have, a lot of things that we're dealing with on a personal level. And nobody else knows what we have. A lot of time, I think we don't know what we have that we're working with, actually, unless we sit and look at it, which can be hard. Started doing some shadow work, and that's looking at the hard things. So to know what you have is a step towards being able to change that and do better with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a step towards omniscience, isn't it?
Yeah. What do you think, Ellie?
Thank you, because I was actually just about to unmute, so perfect timing. I think it's very interesting. I've watched a lot of people change in my life. I've witnessed it a lot. And there's this quote that's, "You're good enough is good enough." So in the moment that you're doing, like, whether it's, I've watched a lot of people and been frustrated that they're not changing or they're struggling to change, but I can't necessarily change them for them, because they're good enough and that situation is good enough. So like, you can watch a plant grow, but you can't make that plant grow. You can give it water and you can give it sunshine and like the right dirt and the right temperature, but you can't actually make it grow. So I think it's really interesting. I don't know, it's just a very interesting thought, but I mean, all of us sometimes are in the situation where we're frustrated that we can't change a situation, but I think it's important to know that, what we're doing is good enough. What we're trying to do is good enough. There's always going to be things that we could be doing better, but what we're doing right now are enough. Yeah. Anyway, just thought.
And speaking of change, one of the things that I found changes sometimes even from day to day, talking about, doing your best or always do your best or good enough. My good enough and my best changes. Like, so, and I can, get to fussing at myself if my good enough today isn't as good as it was yesterday, or my best today was like, man, I did this really well yesterday. Why can't I get it today? That's one of the things, one of the changes that I encounter, and sometimes have a difficult time finding peace in. It, that's the expectation that I'm still learning to accept. Is when my best is not as good as it was yesterday. It might be better tomorrow. Over time, with practice, my best keeps getting better and my worst keeps getting better also.
Yeah, it could be this like weird game with yourself where you tell yourself that you're not doing your best, and then you start to believe it, and then you spiral like y'all are referencing earlier. You spiral down this hole of I'm not good enough or some other ridiculous lie like that, and then you believe it so much, and it seems like you can't get out. It's so easy though to just, this is part of what Jesus was talking about. It's so easy to turn the other cheek and to see a different perspective. It's not hard, but it's the way that a person will think about it. I've thought so hard about fighting, for instance. Like there's this talent that I had where I could hold a grudge. Like I wouldn't forget, man. It was good, it was very good skill. And I've been able to shift out of that and use that in the other way, because that's the reasoning. That's what comes up. It's the way that we look at something. The care used to drive me toward gigantic and impossible expectations. And I would get so angry at people because they didn't live up to my expectations. And I've been able to reverse that and not lose the care, but lose the belief pattern that can come up that people are supposed to do something different than what they're doing. And that's hard. I'm not saying it's easy, because I could see, I understand things. I can see it in people. I can see them. I can see you, And so sometimes it's difficult for me to just step back and just say that everything is fine. God is, got this. The situation is taken care of. I can turn the other cheek.
I think understanding that everyone is on their own path too. Like we don't know where they're at. But they're right where they need to be. I think we're all right where we need to be all of the time. And so once you understand that, you kind of let them do whatever they're gonna do.
Yeah.
They'll figure it out, or they won't.
and they'll figure it out, but they will figure it out. But
They will.
But we may not ever know anything about it.
There's that, and they'll figure it out, but they might not figure it out on my time frame.
No,
because my time frame isn't their time frame.
Yeah, I think I really like your share about having these expectations on people or things, and that's something that I personally have came to terms with a lot here lately. Also, is having this preconceived idea of what I think something should be or someone, and then I set this standard or what I think is going to happen. And essentially, I was letting myself down because I set, this expectation, rather than just allowing the universe to flow for me. So I appreciate that share. That's something that I personally am really working on also, and a lot of people obviously probably should too. And that kind of goes back to just allowing and trusting the flow a lot of times, that regardless of what you think should or shouldn't happen, a lot of times there's not a set path, there's not a right or wrong, and a lot of times it isn't what we think it's going to be. That's the best part about it, is just allowing that flow and taking what comes your way, and just again trusting it's going to work. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, what actually comes, when going with the flow and not fighting the change is usually better than either what I was trying to keep or what I would have changed it into. You know, what actually comes is usually better once I stop fighting.
Yeah. But we got to learn. I mean, that's how we learn. As we put ourselves in certain positions.
The funny thing is, I remember we were talking about, trying to teach that to other people. And I remember being told that many times over the years. And I just I couldn't believe it. I couldn't get it. I couldn't. You know what? You could, like, it sounded good and I wanted it to be true. But it wasn't true until it was true, if that makes any sense. Like, it wasn't true until I lived it. And so we were talking about, trying to change other people too. And I think that's one of the lessons that I take away from that experience is, I can, try to tell people. I think, what was it, Sonya said, you can I can't remember if it was Sonya or Ellie that said, you can't make the plant grow. You can water it, you can give it everything that it needs. So you can share your experience with people and you can, try to tell them that things are all right. But for them, it's not all right until they live that experience themselves. And so for me, that's that's kind of where I have to let it go is I can give them what I can give them. And I have to let it go at that point, because anything past that is stealing. I'm trying to steal their responsibility and steal their experience and opportunity to grow for themselves. And stealing is a sin. So don't want to be doing that.
You could be, I told y'all about this this video that I watched of Bashar. He said sometimes people become belief thieves.
I actually heard that last night. Watched that one.
Meaning that somebody has a belief and you take it on like it's yours. So that can come through family mostly, or it can come through religion or, politics or different stuff, where somebody's teaching or giving or saying something and you don't know if it's true for you, or you don't even consider it. You just snatch it up because somebody else, start believing it and saying they believe it to you. And then, that makes you a belief thief. And it's by the same token, you're not living your own life. And so but essentially you've chosen that. And I can remember times of doing that too, of, really falling into some kind of hole or some kind of pattern that I knew wasn't real for me. It wasn't me. So another thing that I think is really important is to recognize that everything is essentially equal. It depends on how you receive it, how you take it in, and what you call it and what you do with it that makes it important or not important. Like, every choice is essentially equal. There's the stillness of reality, the stillness of truth. It's not true that what I think is right is right. That's not true. What's true is that there is what is. And once I move one way or another on the spectrum, I'm trying to force something. I have to let the plant grow. Or let the plant die.
I mean, death is still change, right?
and I can love it. I can care. I can, I can learn all these different lessons from that experience.
Terrence, Lamont,
Mhm.
I liked your thought there on, kind of at times people will mirror others in a sense, or just kind of adopt beliefs, and kind of to build upon that in a sense. I don't think it's not always known in a sense. So sometimes it can be subliminally or subconsciously without even being aware of it. So just being around people, places, or things for a long enough period, you are absorbing it, especially on a word level. So I think that's a great point that was made there.
It's interesting. I was thinking about the water, and you know how they did those experiments where if you put positive words and negative words, or play a certain kind of music around your water, and
Mhm.
then they froze it and or looked at it in a microscope, and the actual structure of the water, the crystalline structure, changed based on that energy. And then you sometimes run into the reminder that the human body is what is it, 2/3 water. It's a lot of water in us. And so the words and the energy of the environment around us literally affects our body and us. And until you said that, Tucker, I hadn't really thought about that, um particularly in that way, that the water in our body. And I've had the thought before, but not really very deeply, how much that can affect us just being there. Like, we might have mental barriers and we might tune things out, but the stuff is
Mhm.
still happening. We're still in that energy, and it's
Mhm.
still going into our body. And there's a lot of water in there. So that water is still changing. And so I think from that, I take away that it's important to curate my environment. That doesn't mean that I'll avoid everything all the time, but I'll definitely be aware.
Yeah. In that case, creating your family experience, um, say found family and things like that, right? Like that's a big, huge, important um, step to take, to recognize and realize that you can choose who you are around. You can choose who influences you and how you become influenced. And big steps I'm taking right now in lots of different ways, backwards, forwards, sideways, cat a corner, put my left foot in and my right foot out, whatever. It's happening. It can happen in a lot of ways. Well, we normally go from 6:30 to 7:30, and we had a bit of a technical snafu today, but so I think we started around 7:45. So
I mean, we can go around, and if anybody has kind of a last thought, or something that they're taking away, or one more story.
yeah, as an intense listener, and somebody we don't know your name there, Zoom user, if you wanted to share anything, we'd be open to hearing from you.
You're on mute, Charlie.
Oh, now we know your name.
Oh, yep, there we go. I haven't used Zooms in over a decade, so
Nice.
So today, maybe you guys heard there was a little gathering of people in Minneapolis. I think I heard it was around 50,000. Yeah. It's about the ice thing. That was an experience. It was very cold today. The morning started out -20. Wow. That's without wind chill. But people were out. It was a very peaceful gathering, and change perspective. I ended up going to get some food, and while I was there, I sometimes like to go to a bar and just be really quiet and listen to what people say. And there was a guy next to me talking to the bartender, and just the protest they just thought was silly. And I'm like, 50,000 people, and you think they're all silly. You don't think they went out in -20 for a good reason. And, you know, we all see the same videos, right? But depending upon what one person says, one person points out, or even without any commentary, you can walk down the street, see the same video, and you can both walk away with completely different opinions. And you have a couple options there. You can choose to express your opinion or keep it to yourself. And if you express it, there's also that fear too, because that might change your relationship with that individual. I've had lots of fun discussions at work with people, and so I rarely express much of a political opinion just to make my work life easier. But protest, big gathering, that's a change against change that's happening. Opinions, people see the same thing and they either listen to different people or they get their own opinion watching it and just already have their minds made up for whatever reason, being on their own journeys. I think a lot of people, and this is just a personal opinion, I think they disregard it and think it's silly and think that, well, these people are just breaking the law, because I don't think they're happy in their own lives. And I think that as long as it's not happening to them, it's easy to bury their head in the sand. You know, I can just go to work, keep my mouth shut, come home, and most likely nothing bad's going to happen to me. But we're supposed to. I think this isn't anyone. I mean, everyone's got their own beliefs, but mine is you try to help other people because one day you might need their help. But I guess that's kind of an experience and some thought processes, I guess, in the thing I just did today or experienced.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you guys for inviting me.
Yeah, the way you feel about yourself can color pretty much everything that you do, from the lessons, from the way we got here, School of Metaphysics. How high your self-esteem is, how low it is, how much you believe you achieved your goals in life. Y'all, I'm sure at least half of y'all know who Al Bundy is. Remember, he used to always talk about scoring 4 touchdowns. And, in that game, that one game he scored 4. That's always that's his claim to fame, right?
Claim to fame.
He could never let that go. He'd always bring it up. And every time we heard him say it, we cheer and laugh because it's just, you know how important it was to him. So having that deep-seated belief in yourself, that trust in yourself it's contagious. But you always got to know that we're not, your achievements aren't other people's achievements. It's not as important to other people as it is to you. It doesn't have to be. We gotta be ourselves. So many people around you who think, like you said, man, think it's all everything. My gosh, how many thoughts do you have just as the one person you are, and then imagine multiplying that by all these other people. So how we feel about ourselves is it's what matters. Thought is such an interesting thing, isn't it?
Man, it is.
It's one teacher says that it's the empire of propaganda. Well, Stella Lynn, you got any last words?
Just
oh.
someone was talking. I want to just stay open to change, because I know it's part of this physical life, and I don't always like what was said, like change, or some changes I do embrace more than others, but realize that I can stay centered through it all.
Yeah. Ellie the Wise.
I don't know. I wanted to thank everybody for sharing, because it was a very pleasant discussion, and there was a lot of truths that came out that were very clear. So I just thought it was very interesting and cool to see, especially with events happening nowadays. It's awesome to have discussions like these.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. Well, thanks for getting us started, Holly.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's how we do what we do here. So thanks everybody for being here. This piece is built through communication, brought to you in part by the School of Metaphysics and the Universal Peace Covenant. And on peacedome.org, you can go there and you can experience the Universal Peace Covenant reading that we do on a daily basis. We're at number 2125 tomorrow.
It's days in a row.
Days in a row. So join us if you wish. Tucker, what do you think, man?
I think this is great. I'm glad we all took time to do this today, especially myself. I really enjoy sharing this time with all of you. I've been sitting here doing crafts and arts with the family, so it's kind of been a family thing. Sit here and listen to you guys. It's a great experience. It's a great thing to share, with you guys and the family. And I look forward to more of them. And being aware of our thoughts and our words, and how we interact and what we do is really, to me, kind of the core. Is the core of peaceful communication at its finest. So what we feed, what we think, the energy we bring is what we populate more of. So this is wonderful. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Well, we do this every fourth Friday. So we'll be back again next month, 28th at 6:30 p.m. And again, you can go to peacedome.org and you can join us for the Peace Covenant reading in the morning, or this event at 6:30 on the fourth Friday of the month at 6:30 p.m. All right. Peace be with you.
Have a good night.